Alright people, it is finally time for my ban list prediction. So if you are new here, I'm Yubel Mastery, and I generally do ban list predictions. I do not do wish lists. I try to get in Konami's head. I try to predict what they're going to do to my best of my possibilities, and hopefully this goes well. So I actually did kind of like a preview video to this, so the link in the description is top 5 cards that should be hit, that probably won't be hit. None of the cards on that list are on this list, so if you want me to go into detail about some of the cards that aren't on this list but still want me to give my opinion about those cards, go ahead and check that video out. But here, this is the ban list prediction, as in I'm trying to predict what Konami's going to do. We just had Nationals, of course, Domain Monarchs won, ton of PK fire topping, and I'm going to try to predict what Konami is going to do on this upcoming list. When is this upcoming list? I don't know. I mean, your guess is best as mine. You know, we assume that we get a list sometime in July, maybe in a week or two. We generally do get a list in July, despite Konami the whole like, oh, well, we're not going to put a specific set on our list because it restricts. Shut the fuck up, all right? The point is that you generally do a list in July, right after Nats, before Worlds. So this will be generally our small list. Not too much that we really want to hit, so I'm trying to predict that in that case. But as you can clearly see on the screen, let's play a little game. If you guys know me and you've been on my channel for a while, one of the big things that I try to do when I predict lists, precedence. Precedence is a huge factor. I set precedence from the OCG. OCG does have influence on our list, so my ban prediction, it won't be any curveballs. You won't hear me saying, you know, unban Spell Book of Judgment, bring back Dragon Lords, none of that, you know? Nothing too crazy. I'm a very conservative Yu-Gi-Oh player. I'd rather shit be hit than not hit, and, you know, TCG in that sense is also very conservative. So, in that sense, you won't be hearing me say, you know, free my nigga Stratos or anything like that, because I don't think Konami's gonna do it, sorry. So, we're gonna play a little game. If you're under the age, then go grab some juice. But if you guys really want to play, take a drink every time I say precedence. I'm actually going to put a counter on the screen, and you guys got to drink every time I say precedence. I'm not going to do it intentionally. It's an easy way to go ahead and explain why things are that way, or why things will predicting be this way when it comes to the list. And of course, when the list comes out, I like to see how close I get. I'd say I do fairly well predicting. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if this is the real list, I think that people would be fairly okay with it. So I'm actually gonna do things backwards. I think that things are a little bit more interesting instead of me just going banned, where you're like, oh my god, banned, and then go to unlimited, where you're like, okay, things are unlimited, who cares? I'm gonna go backwards. I'm gonna do unlimited to ban, and it's gonna build up. If you just came here to just see what I predict, and and that's it, you don't want to hear me spiel and talk and go on and on and on, because this video is probably gonna be really long, maybe 20-30 minutes. The list, my prediction, is in the description. Just go ahead and open the description, bam, there it is. Go ahead and see it and be like, oh, okay, that's what he thinks. In the comment section below, go ahead and tell me what you guys think Konami is going to do. I'm not really looking for wish lists, because wish list people get a little bit too personal. Get the personal out of it. I want you to try to get in Konami's head and predict, not wish, predict what they're going to do. So now we got explanations all out of the way. Let's go ahead and hop into it. So we're going to start with Unlimited. So Unlimited, started off, we have Card Trooper. Card Trooper, that Troop Dupe Scoop, it's not as bad as it used to be. I mean, if you're really worried about Card Trooper machine duplication, that's really your concern, nah, don't worry about it, you know, that's not the concern. Set precedence from OCG, they do have 3 Card Troopers, and I've been kind of pondering whether they were going to go ahead and move it or not. Konami generally, especially TCG, have been moving cards off the semi-limited. Like, cards generally don't stay on the semi-limited too long, unless you're a particular set of cards. You generally move from limited, semi-limited right off, you know, the Lex list. So, I kind of think that Konami will probably do it this time, you know, Card Trooper to 3, especially with the hit that I think they're going to do to Burning Abyss. Well, Burning Abyss is kind of like, should probably go away. I mean, it's been tier 2 for tier 1 almost 2 years now. PK, you know, Phantom Knights, they're still getting some more support. We of course know Dark Awakening and all that, so Phantom Knights are still a thing. And while we can go ahead and take out Burning Abyss, sweep them, run to their legs, PK is still going to be there, and I think that the inclusion of Card Trooper, a little bit of the mill base, would totally be fine. You know, if they want to go ahead and run 3 Card Trooper in their PK and mill a little bit with it, it is a level 3, it does have synergy, it does help with the deck, then more power to them. So, yeah, I don't think anybody would be too upset with Card Trooper at 3. I mean, if you're really worried about Troop, Dupe, Scoop, then that's the least of your concern. So I think that's about time. I think generally I'm like, yeah, maybe Card Trooper, but this time, especially with the hit to Burning Abyss, I think that they'll probably go ahead and just move Card Trooper off. Alright, so moving on to the next card, moving up to 3, we have Debris Dragon. Debris Dragon's an easy prediction. It moved up to 2 last list. We'll go ahead and move it up to 3 this list. Debris Dragon has literally done absolutely nothing. This format, it was kind of a hit because of Dragon Rulers, and it's good to see that Konami steadily moving cards up that were affected by the Dragon Rulers off the list. So Debris Dragon can go ahead and move up to 3. That's probably the easiest unlimited prediction there is. So moving on to the next card, I am predicting, reluctantly, I'm not a big fan of this card going to 3, but I could probably predict Konami moving it up. Honest. Yeah, Honest. Especially with Cosmos, you know, but no one's really playing it. Blue Eye support, of course, so that helps as well. We do have set precedents from OCG. They do have 3 Honest. Honest is very strong, but there's not too many light decks that are really utilizing it. I bet Konami can actually see that, and with them being able to see that, they're like, alright, well, let's go ahead and clean up this summer limited. Let's put Honest off, you know. So that's one card for the light, and of course, we're going to have a card for the dark as well. So that's easy to predict. Precedence from the OCG, Honest to 3. Moving on to the card for the dark, going up to 3, we have Allure of Darkness. So Allure of Darkness recently went up to 2, set precedence from the OCG to move up to 3. They also have 3 Allure of Darknesses, and that's kind of interesting, you know, that these cards like Honest and Allure are moving during a time where Dark and Light are very, very predominant in the metagame. You know, a lot of dark decks, a lot of light decks, a lot of light and dark decks, and but yet Allure of Darkness really didn't do too much. I mean, we saw a little bit in Cosmos. Maybe a little bit in PK, but no, not too much of a use. So, Allure of Darkness, I don't think it's a too terrible card. It's very flexible just because, I mean, it's an entire freaking attribute. It's just dark, you know? But essentially, you even out. While you do get 2 cards deep into the deck, and that can be very powerful, you even out with resources. It's not like you're going plus or super plus with a particular card that we will be addressing further in this video. But yes, Allure of Darkness, go ahead and move up to 3. Alright, and the final card moving up to 3 is... Now, I'm going to go ahead and predict Dragon's Vein. Usually I predict Dragon's Vein. Last list I thought they were going to go ahead and move it, but they didn't. And I'm trying to predict it now to go ahead and see if I can go ahead and catch this one. We don't have precedence on this one, surprisingly. OCG actually has 1 Dragon's Vein. You know, if you wouldn't know that if you didn't chat. But with the Dragon Rulers being banned, especially with the... you know, Blue Eyes support, supporting Blue Eyes as a really relevant deck in the TCG, and a little bit more money hungry than OCG. I wouldn't be surprised if they go ahead and put Dragon up to 3. I actually predicted Tragodia, and then they didn't, and then I didn't predict Tragodia, and then they did, and then I predicted Dragon, and then they didn't, and then I'm going to predict it now. I'm going to catch them. Alright, Konami, you're going to go ahead and put Dragon up to 3. No one cares. I mean, if anything, Dragon Shrine's kind of you know, pretty much the same power. This is the field spell, but you know, no one plays Dragon Entities. If anything, you have, you know, Dragon Shrine, you have Dark Matters, Summoning Dragons. As long as Dragon Rose are banned, it's fine. So yeah, Dragon Vein, I'm gonna predict move up 3. If it doesn't, I guess, but I'm gonna go ahead and predict that. I think that this is the time they're gonna do it. All right. And I believe that is all my unlimited, so we can go ahead and move on to semi-limits. So semi-limited, I have 1000 Eyes Restrict. That's easy. Set precedence from the OCG. They unban 1000 Restrict. We unban 1000 Restrict. They move it up to 2. We move it up to 2. They move it up to 3. We move up to 3. So when 1000 Restrict goes ahead and moves up to 2 for this list, we can easily go ahead and predict it to 3 for next list. No one really cares about 1000 Restrict. And when you see Instant Fusion, you see Norton, not 1000 Restrict. So you know, if you want to go ahead and pay 1000, do a 1-for-1, take my monster, but then 1000 Restrict during the end phase, I mean, I guess more power to you. And it targets too, so alright. So, yeah, 1000 Restrict going up to 2. Next card at 2. I'm going to predict that, especially with how conservative Konami is with us having Heavy Storm ban, Harpy's Feather Duster ban, but yet a nice balance between back row and back row destruction. That's really different from OCG. I'm going to predict that Konami's going to go ahead and put Twin Twisters down to 2. We've seen the strength of this card. You know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When we see Twin Twisters, we see it generally play at multiples. The consistency is just a little bit too high for the amount of back row. And while you can say, well, Twin Twisters is at 3, Solemn Strike at 3, their ratio is not correct either. I bet Konami can go ahead and see that. So, well, I do predict that Konami's probably going to go ahead, especially this time. We're farther away from the set. We've had about half a year of Solemn Strike at 3. They're going to go ahead and put that down to 1, generally where they put powerful trap cards similar to Bottomless Compulse, Torrential Tribute, Ring of Destruction, just those kind of cards. Put Solemn Strike there along with the brethren of Solemn Warning. But Twin Twister, I mean, the ratio would be off, and when Konami and all the rest of it definitely seeing the strength of multiple Twisters. Just go ahead and lower the consistency a little bit. We do have set precedence. MST was at semi-limited at 1 point, so semi-limited Twin Twister, and then I think that's an appropriate place. Semi-limited Twin Twister, Solemn Strike at 1. I think people would be happy with that. Alright, and the last card I have moving on to semi-limited, not a lot of semi-limits, but generally there's not a lot of semi-limits anyway. Like, semi-limited is very, very small. I have moving up to 2 Wall of Revealing Light. That is set precedence from the OCG. They move Wall of Revealing Light, but with moving Wall of Revealing Light, I actually have an additional card going onto the list because of this. So, Wall of Revealing Light is not, it's a very powerful card in the right hands depending on what you're doing with it. But in this day and age, it's not too terrible. Really, it's only hit because it can be very sacky with paying a large amount of life points and playing a particular card that I'm going to predict that Konami will ban this time. Can cause some shenanigans, but if that card is gone, then Wall of Revealing Light doesn't do much. You want to go ahead and pay 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 block attacker so I can go ahead and pop with Twin Twister or spin back with a Castell? No one cares, you know. Like I said, outside of just really sacky plays, you know, self-destruct button, Life Equalizer, once those cards are gone, no one cares about Wall of Revealing Light, and OCG saw that. In fact, set precedence, they do have influence. I kind of feel like OCG will be like, just spam Life Equalizer and put Wall of Revealing Light to 2, and then probably to 3, because no one cares, so, yeah. So, I'll go ahead and predict some of it. Alright, so now we can move on to the juicy stuff that everybody's been waiting for. Let's move on to the limited. So, starting off with limited to 1, I have Performapal Pendulum Sorcerer. He should have been limited last list, but obviously this is set precedence from OCG. They took it a little bit more extreme. We had our adjusted list. OCG went above and beyond. I didn't predict that Konami was going to do too much outside of the adjusted list. I thought they were just going to keep it as is for the April list when they actually influenced it after the adjusted list in February. But Sorcerer, I mean, just this one card has been enough to move Draco Pals up to deck number 4, obviously. There's a couple of people that say that it shouldn't be hit, but really, I mean, it really should. We need to go ahead and move out these Performapals, you know, we don't need this. Dracos, if you sell this format, Dracos are fine. Dracos took their hit, Ignister, Luster, Face Off, that's not the problem. The problem is that we have multiple sorcerers, multiple ways to access Sorcerer. It's kind of interesting that OCG banned Monkeyboard, but hit Sorcerer down to 1. I totally wouldn't mind if they decided to ban Sorcerer. You know, you really don't need 1 Sorcerer, but that would lower the consistency of having him, lower his shenanigans. Once he's gone, he's gone. So definitely Sorcerer needs to be limited. One Sorcerer is limited, and then another additional hit. We can move away from Performapals, step away from that, and move on to some other decks. So that's easy set precedence from OCG. They have that at 1. Let's go ahead and put our Sorcerer to 1 as well. Moving on to limited as well, I have Scarm, Malebranche of the Burning Abyss. Okay, so this is a Burning Abyss hit. It's easy to see that to cool down, that Burning Abyss and TCG need to be cooled down. They have been tier 1 for almost 2 years now, and with that, they've gotten indirect hits, other hits, but obviously it's still too much, you know. And especially with their inclusion of PK, the abuse of Dante, an easy way to go ahead and clean up Burning Abyss as or at least put them down to a point where they're not as prevalent anymore. It's just easy set precedence off of OCD. They hit Scarm and Dante to 1. We hit Scarm and Dante to 1. Simple as that, you know. And that would pretty much be the nail in the coffin. I was actually pondering whether they were going to put Graft in 1. Then they all 3. I mean, no, Sir to 1. That all of them would be at 1. Graft, Sir, Scarm and Dante, but I think that Konami's just gonna be like, all right, we'll just copy OCG set precedence and just Scarm to 1, Dante to 1, and that's it. You know, bye Burning Abyss, pretty much. And with that, I already spoke about the next card limited to 1, Dante, Traveler at the Burning Abyss. I mean, Dante probably should have been limited last list, but yeah, the shenanigans. It's interesting that he's turned less into the boss monster of Burning Abyss and more into just this accessible extra deck always has access to a card trigger. You know, just summon it, mill 3, you don't care what you mill as long as you mill. And well, Beatrice is a nice addition. They kind of sold all the Beatrice. It's interesting that, you know, Burning Abyss last list didn't get hit. This time, of course, Beatrice, they've won PK Fire on top numerous times. Burning Abyss have done really well, but it's time to go ahead and move on. So Dante, go ahead and get limited. You have 1 Dante. Sorry, but yeah, it's just interesting. The fact that we have to hit Burning Abyss, that way we don't have to hit PK, that way we don't have to hit Speedroids. I know at the time people are talking about, you know, Terror Toppers have been hit, but if Dante is limited down to 1, that might discourage the use of just, you know, busting out 3, you know, 2 or 3 Dante's first turn. So only 1 Dante, use it wisely. You still get that mill, but, you know, sorry, Dante pretty much has to go at this point. Alright, moving on to a card that if you've been with me on my channel, you would think that I would go ahead and say that this card will be banned. But I can see Konami doing this, so I'm going to go ahead and predict it. I would rather have this card be banned than limited, but limited. Card of Demise. Yes, Card of Demise needs to get hit. Like, there's no ifs, ands, about it. Like, there's a couple of people who are like, oh, well, I love lower tier decks, fucked up tier decks, you know, 3 Card of Demise, Card of Demise to fans. Oh, no. This card is ridiculous. It is probably upwards of a Graceful Charity on crack in the right deck's hand. It's a very unhealthy card that could have been made a little bit better, and they made it to the best of their ability. Another one of these really broken ass anime cards where it's just like, why the fuck did you make that? But you made it, and it's super powerful. But you know what this card reminds me of, and the reason why I'm gonna say that Konami's probably gonna limit it instead of ban it? You know what this card reminds me of? Soul Charge. Think about it. Both really broken anime cards that got made into real cards, but they were still a little bit too powerful, right? Some people are saying that should be banned. Some people are saying that should be limited. Some people say that should stay unlimited. A division through the community in which it gives you with a small restriction, you know? Okay, what? I can't conduct my battle phase and I pay 1,000 life points. Card of Demise. Alright, I can't do any damage and I can't special summon, I pitch my hand. But you weigh it, the drawbacks to what you get in return, ridiculous on both ends, correct? Some people thought that Soul Charge should have been banned. I was in that boat. It's like, Soul Charge, just get rid of it, just ban it, right? They limited it. And with limiting it, well, you occasionally see it and it might tick you off. You don't see it too much. I think that Card of Demise is pretty much going to fall in that same exact boat. You Card of Demise limited, you might see it occasionally, it might tick you off, but, I mean, maybe it might turn into a staple, and maybe it might have to get banned, but I think that it's pretty much going to get the same treatment as Soul Charge. You'll see it, but you won't see it too much. You won't see it enough to, you know, really say anything. At least be like, at least I got 1. We've seen at Nationals that Grave Cave I played multiple Card of Demises. Card of Demise includes multiple Card of Demises, so I think that Konami's probably going with it. I would be ecstatic. I would be ecstatic if in the next list I saw this card banned. But I can easily see Konami just, you know, I'm scrolling down to the limited section, bam, Card of Demise limited. So I'm gonna go ahead and predict it. I'm gonna chalk that up to trying to predict it, not what I want, but more like what I think Konami's going to do. Alright, so moving on to next card, we have some Monarch hits. This is easy. This is set precedence from the OCG, Domain of the True Monarchs, and the Pantheism of the Monarchs. So, I mean, that's easy. Especially with winning Nationals Domain Monarchs, surprisingly. I was actually kind of pondering that maybe Konami wouldn't hit Domain, maybe hit something else in Monarchs because extra deck Monarchs, but as I can clearly see from the winning of Nationals, the United States Nationals, that Domain, it's kind of Floodgate, it really is. There's some people are saying that it shouldn't be hit, that it need to be hit, but in the end of the day, it's Floodgate. Floodgates need to be limited down to the 1, you know? And it is a theme-specific Floodgate. It's a Floodgate nonetheless, locking your opponent out of the extra deck is very, very powerful in this game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where extra deck is, I'd say, at least 80% of the game. So they have 1, they get 1. If you get rid of it, then, you know, then they're back down to our level, especially with set precedence from the OCG, where, you know, OCG has influence on us. They'd be like, hey, you know, how should we hit Monarchs? You know, Monarchs are going to be a problem. We sold the structure deck. We need to go ahead and move on. And, you know, especially since this is the World's list, you know, outside hits to Monarchs could really influence how well they do in Worlds. So if we just go ahead and do the same thing that OCG does, then at Worlds, if anybody wants to play Monarchs, then it's the same hits. You know, you got one Domain, one Pantheism. Good luck. So Domain, that's obvious. It's a Super Floodgate, and Pantheism, that should have been last list, but they didn't. And yeah, look what happens when things that should get hit don't get hit. All right, you win Nationals, you win the big shebang, well, almost the big shebang besides Worlds, but I mean, this is a close second, right? So literally, you know, going down to Walmart, buying 3 structure decks, slapping them together, throwing a couple of Karazes, and you got, you know, yourselves a national winner. It's kind of ridiculous. So Pantheism always hit, you know. It's a +1. The drawing, getting deeper into the deck, the banishing and searching at the same time, the drawing that they affect multiple times. Yeah, definitely limit worthy. So that's easy. So Pantheism down 2-1. All right. Moving on to another card I won, another set precedence. Emergency Teleport Limited. This should have happened last list, but I guess maybe Konami wanted to see Emergency Teleport had 2. No, Emergency Teleport has earned its spot at 1. This is kind of the indirect hit to Cosmos, taking a similar approach to Burning Abyss. You know, it may take multiple lists to go ahead and slowly push out Cosmos. But this is the indirect hit. This is the tour guide hit to Cosmos. Emergency Teleport down to 1. Set precedence was they put Emergency Teleport down to 1, and they don't even have Cosmos. Like, isn't that crazy? So with that, Cosmos are just a tiny bit hit. Of course, Cosmos cannot be at World, so don't expect them to be getting hit. You know, I've seen people predicting Dark Destroyer and Cosmo Town and Tenkim, Cosmo, like, no, it's just going to be Emergency Teleport. Everything else is going to go untouched for Cosmos for this list. Maybe a little bit of touching in November, the bigger list where more shit gets hit in November, or the fall list, but for now, just Emergency Teleport down to 1. That's it for Cosmos. That's literally the only hit. And have fun playing Cosmos next format. You can't be at Worlds, but Konami still wants you to be some top tier shit in TCG. So Emergency Teleport to 1, that's it. That's all you get. A little tap on the head, just like how Tour Guide went down to 1 and nothing else, and Burning Abyss got hit. And yeah, so that's easy. And the last card limited to 1 I have, Solemn Strike. So I already kind of talked about this one before, but yeah, Solemn Strike. It's interesting that you know, it's kind of where Konami leaned towards money than with the balance of the game, because if it was balance of the game, this card would have gotten eliminated as soon as the first list, you know? It's like, wait a minute. So you can stop any inherent summon and negate any effect for 1500, and it's a solemn card? Yeah, no, limited. It's interesting that we have cards that are way less powerful than this card, and yet this card's at 3, and yet those cards aren't, you know? Like, Compulse, Book of Moon, Ring of Destruction. It's like, those cards are limited. The Strike, that can be at 3? Like, no. So Strike probably get the same treatment. It'll probably get thrown in the boat as in a very powerful trap card. You got 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulse, 1 Ring of Destruction, 1 Treasure Tribute, 1 Solemn Strike, 1 Solemn Notes. You know, work with that, and you know, use other trap cards. You know, just throw your cookie card Solemn Brigade in your deck. Throw it in there in every single deck. Just triple Solemn Strikes in a Solemn Warning. You know, so. Strike will go ahead and get hit down to 1. Of course, this means that if Strike is at 1, we don't have to hit around. I've seen a couple people trying to say that a Ravine should be hit. Just lower the counter traps, you know? It's kind of ridiculous. You can go ahead and just pop a Ravine and reveal 3 Solemn Strikes. So now 1 Strike, 1 Warning, and then 1 of whatever counter trap that you play. So, especially with Sorcerer getting hit, and with the promotion Metaphors, that's not too bad either. But yeah, so that is what I have for Limited. So, moving on to band. I don't have too many bands, I only have 2, so we're going to go ahead and get this done. I think we're moving upwards to a half an hour, I apologize, but yeah. So, first card band, set precedence, I have Performapal Monkeyboard. Instead, this is just a simple way to go ahead and move up Performapals. I think that TCG Konami is going to do. As I can see from OCG, Performapals, they're pretty much not there. And while we're moving on to new and better things, moving on to Blue Eyes, moving on to Metaphors, so let's go ahead and move out this Performapal shit. So Monkeyboard is just an easy hit. I personally, I don't mind Monkeyboard too much at 1, but I can see it, you know? You pretty much rip a Monkeyboard or search a Monkeyboard, that's a 1-card Pendulum scale through itself, and while that's kind of frowned upon here in the game in Yugioh, just being able to go ahead and do a Skullcrawler, Joker, Monkeyboard, or Sorcerer, Monkeyboard, you know, like that, and grab those cards real quick, I can understand that. So, OCG, they went to the extreme of hitting Sorcerer down to 1 and banning Monkeyboard. Simple solution to move out Performapals, just monkey see, monkey do, set precedent. So yeah, there you go. So Monkeyboard, go ahead and get banned. That's fine. You know. And then the last card banned, I have Life Equalizer. Interesting that TCG Konami didn't do it last time. You know, instead of banning Life Equalizer, we hit Chicken Game, banned Chicken Game, which is fine, and we hit Upstart Goblin to 1. And it's interesting, when it comes to the whole Life Equalizer thing, you need that separation, you know? You need that separation between Upstart Goblin and Chicken Game to get your life points separated enough for your opponent to then bring your both life points back to 3,000, and then, you know, hit your opponent for that 3,000. But, Life Equalizer, especially with the influence of OCG, I think they're just going to be like, alright, well, we hit it, but let's go ahead and clear this up. We're just going to ban Life Equalizer, ban these kind of sacky even cards, and then we'll just move Wall of Illusion, Wall of Light up to 3, like OCG, simple as that. So, just because Life Equalizer is banned, I don't think that Konami's going to move Upstart Goblin. I think that they're happy with that one card, that cookie cutter shit. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the list. So, I don't know how many times I've said set precedence. Counter stop now. I don't know how many times I've said it. The counter, I'll do them editing. I hope that you guys are still okay. You know, did you guys drink yourself to death? Are you guys dead? If you are, I apologize. But it's just really easy to explain things that way. I think OCG has a lot of influence on our list, and it's just much easier to do monkey see, monkey do. And, you know, they test things out. We see that it produces results. We proceed to copy that. So, yeah, there we go. So, in the comment section below, tell me what you guys think about this predicted list. Like I said, we have hits to Burning Abyss, no hits to PK, of course. Hits to Monarchs, hits to Draco Pals, no real hits to Cosmos, except this is the Worlds. This would be the list that would be used for Worlds, so there's really no reason to hit Cosmos when they can't even show up at the big tournament that, you know, we're all preparing for. They'll probably get more of a hit in November. Just a little simple hit, emergency teleport down to 1 is fine, and the rest of it is, I think, okay. So tell me what you guys are going to predict in the comment section below. I hope that you guys enjoyed this ban list prediction. Maybe in like a week or two, we will be getting our ban list prediction, and I will see how many I got correct. You know, I'm feeling fairly confident. You know, there's nothing on here where I'm too unsure. Nothing on here that's biased. I don't have a biased or preference for any of these decks, so it's much easier to predict. And yeah, I am pretty much done here. So, like I said, if there's something on this list which you think and that should be on this list, and I haven't talked about it, like I said, link in the description to my top 5 cards that Konami should hit, that probably won't. So in that list, I will go ahead and be talking about, you know, Brilliant Fusion. I'll be talking about Keaton, because you're probably expecting those. I don't think Konami's going to hit those. So, yep, we'll be having fun with that in a couple months with Metaphors and all that. So get ready for that to be some top of your shit, and maybe we'll go ahead and, you know, address some of those hits in the fall list. So, I hope that you guys enjoyed this ban list prediction. I hope that I didn't drink you guys under a table. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the support. And just waiting, looking forward to this ban list. Alright, people, thanks for watching.